Spring and fall are good times to cleanse. Today I want to discuss some good ways to cleanse as well as understanding the proper order of cleansing. Hi, I'm Mary Bourne, traditional naturopath, and I love sharing natural remedies with people for better health. Here with me today is my good friend and neighbor, Deb.
Hello.
And we have 4 eliminative channels. The colon, where waste material is eliminated. The respiratory system, where gas and carbon dioxide and such are eliminated. We cough out things that the phlegm get congested with, and we cough that up. And then there's the kidneys, which eliminate the liquids that are contaminated, and the fluids of the body. So the kidneys and lymphatics work hand in hand. Lymphatics collect stuff and then they send it out the kidneys. And the kidneys are also responsible for keeping the pH of the body. So the final thing is we have the skin. Now the skin is the largest eliminative organ, but it isn't our primary. And a lot of people go through this, well, I need to do a liver cleanse, but before you need to do it, so before you learn how to run, you got to walk. And so so let me talk a little bit about the skin. We perspire through the skin, and toxins are eliminated through this perspiration. But if our other 3 eliminative channels are not working efficiently, that perspiration is going to stink, our breath is going to stink, and you'll have things that form on the skin like boils and acne, and you'll have conditions like eczema and variety of things, because it isn't supposed to be your primary eliminative system. So the first eliminative channel we want to be sure is working is the colon, our main eliminative system. We can help this organ function better if we drink lots of water, and if part of that water is with fresh lemon, if we exercise properly, and if we have a good healthy diet with lots of fiber. So let's examine what is needed for good digestion, because that's really the primary thing, is what you put in your mouth. So proper digestion encourages good assimilation, and then we can have a good elimination. So here's how it really looks. Actually, you start up here with the mouth, and then things are chewed properly, your food is chewed properly. Then it goes down into the esophagus, it goes into the stomach, and then from the stomach it passes into the liver, and when you chew, the food mixes with a digestive enzyme called ptyalin. This helps to break down any carbohydrates. So that's why if you're eating a high carbohydrate diet, it turns immediately into sugar. So it's very bad for diabetics, because this, and if it's a sugary donut, you're doubling the effect of the sugar, because the starchy carbohydrate immediately turns into sugar, and then these signals hit the pancreas, and the pancreas immediately has to deal with the high amount of sugar that they know is coming down the stream. So so then what the next step is absorption, which happens in the small intestine, and then finally what isn't absorbed goes into the large intestine. And the large intestine has 3 major areas: the ascending colon, which is over here, then transverse colon, and then finally descending colon, until it ends up in the rectum and then out the anus. So that's basically the process of how our food goes down. Now, food is our fuel. If we don't eat the right food, we don't get energy. So if we put in fruits, vegetables, and good proteins, that will help. But if those good foods aren't digested properly, then it can't become fuel. So in other words, just like a car has to combust fuel to run, so does our body have to break down nutrients, and digestion is the way it does that. So then this fuel becomes good energy. So I feel that if people took enzymes with every meal, they would be able to accomplish the task of breaking food down into usable nutrients. The organs of digestion are the stomach, the pancreas, the liver, the gallbladder, and the small intestines. So 10% of digestion occurs before it hits the small intestine. 90% of it occurs in the small intestine. So if you don't have good enzymes to help break down your nutrients, and you don't have good probiotics to encourage the rest of digestion, then you won't have good energy. So a lot of people come into me and they just don't have energy. They have to push themselves. They have to drink caffeine products, 5-hour energy stuff. And actually what's occurring is that the whole diet is not conducive to good energy. You do not get energy from energy drinks. What you do is overstimulate your adrenals and you get more stressed out. And that is not being told often enough. So you need to understand about digestion. I take enzymes with every single meal, and I try to eat right, and I take probiotics because I feel that if I want to live a long, healthy life, I've got to do what it takes to do that. So once into the large intestine, after all the nutrients have been pushed into the bloodstream to be sorted by the liver, then what's left is fecal matter, and the fecal matter is eliminated. And along with the fecal matter and fiber, you hope to eliminate toxins. So that's the whole process of it, is to make sure that you're getting rid of the toxins that are accumulated in the body through the air we breathe, the food we eat, everything that we do basically. So these are helped through the intestine by what's known as villi, and these are small cell structures that actually wave, and they move the food in through this wave and through what's called peristalsis. So sometimes people need something to encourage peristalsis, and that is started by the gallbladder, which is dripping bile into the bile duct, and that's real bitter, so it's sort of like thinking of a lemon and puckering up your mouth. And then that starts the peristalsis moving. So if the large intestine is not functioning properly, food can get bogged down, making the process known as transit time slow. So drinking water during the day is helpful, exercise is helpful, and of course the digestion of food is good. But when you're eating food, it is not a good idea to gulp and drink lots of liquids, because then you're diluting whatever enzymes you do have in your stomach. And sipping a little bit here and there is a good idea, but you should drink no more than 4 to 6 ounces during a meal. And many people will drink big gulps, and they chew their food so little that they need a mouthful of water just to get that stuff down. So food is our fuel. The objective of the fuel, of course, is to produce energy. And if you want good energy, you need to take in high octane fuel. And after the age of 35, I feel that most everybody needs to have enzymes. We need support to effectively utilize those nutrients. So if toxins are clogging up your main eliminative system, you won't be healthy. So I've always deemed that the colon should be cleared first and functioning well before we attempt to clean out the liver. So a lot of people come to me, I need a liver cleanse. But in the meantime, they're only going to the bathroom twice a week.
Oh.
They don't need a liver cleanse yet. So it is your objective to have at least 2 to 3 bowel movements every day. If you have a puppy and that puppy only eliminates 3 times a week, you'd be in the vet's place instantly because you know that's not good. However, people don't think of themselves as the fact that we have 2 to 3 meals a day and yet we don't eliminate the same. If you eat a meal, 12 hours later, you should be having an elimination. So the good transit time is that if you eat beets at night, you should see red the following morning. So now it is important to do a liver cleanse because if the liver is bogged down, it can't do a good job of sorting nutrients. So here, let's think of an Amazon warehouse, not the Amazon jungle, but the Amazon everybody goes to buy stuff. So they have stuff coming in, they have stuff being manufactured, they have stuff ready for shipping, then they have to ship it out and send it out, and then they have excess. They have junk and trash that have to be removed. So now what would happen if any part of that went on strike? You wouldn't get your stuff.
You'd see red.
You'd see red the next morning. No, but you need to see that whole process, and if scrap piles up and the whole system can get congested, people can't move around properly, they can't do their job, everybody counts on everybody else. We are not just a mouth, we are not just a stomach, and we're not just a colon. The whole body works together, and when one is not functioning properly, the other organ systems feel it. So the topic in my Herbal Egram this week is forced vaccines. Now, it wasn't about the philosophy of it. I think most everybody by now knows my philosophy about vaccines, but what to do if you are forced to have vaccines. And there are people that are forced to have vaccines. The military, people that work in hospitals, now children that are going to school or preschool. And aside from the fact that I think it's criminal that we are forced to put these chemicals into our body, you need to know. So here's what my e-news looks like, and you can get it delivered to your inbox every Monday, or you can choose to go online, look at my sidebar saying newsletters, and it will be the first link that comes up. But you need to know that real hero in vaccines is not the vaccine. If you gave that vaccine to a dead body, nothing would happen. The real hero is your immune system. They depend on a well-functioning immune system for that vaccine to work properly. So, if you're forced to have vaccines, then you need to make sure that the 2 weeks prior to you getting that vaccine, you are pumping that immune system and making it as healthy as you possibly can. You never get a vaccine if you have a cold or the flu or you're compromised in any way. Then, immediately after that vaccine is injected, you go home, you start a liver cleanse. You start getting rid of the heavy metals that are there to that they put in vaccines like aluminum and mercury, and the adjuvants, the glyphosate, the chemicals that are used to potentiate that vaccine. People are not being told that these things can disrupt the body. Whether you believe that vaccines are good or bad, the fact is, if you read the ingredient list, which is never given to you unless you absolutely insist, there are chemicals in that vaccine other than just the vaccine. So you would do well by reading that e-gram. It'll give you some hints on how you can pump up your immune system. One of the things I think is a really good idea is this liquid ultimate echinacea, and it has different types of echinacea in it, and it can be given to children, it can be given to seniors, it can be given to anybody who doesn't like to take capsules. So it's a really good liquid to have on hand. Now, the liver will hang on to toxins for years. These toxins can be from medications, the environment, all kinds of things. It will not release that toxin unless it knows that the body is not going to be harmed by its release. Now, a lot of times what will happen is it just gets so congested, it has to release some, and so it will form a tumor or cyst in the fatty tissue. Fatty tissue is full of toxins, but it isn't the first thing you want to detoxify. The cells come way beyond after you've done the 4 eliminative channels. Then it's safe to do the cells. In next week's class, I will talk about, hi Sheree, we will talk about how to eliminate toxins from the cells. But this week we want to talk about those 4 main eliminative channels and how we can get it. Do you know if the liver is congested, that means that it's not efficiently breaking down fats. And guess what? Cholesterol is a fat. If you're not dealing well with fats, you're going to have high cholesterol. You're going to have bad cholesterol. You're going to have oxidized cholesterol. Oxidized cholesterol is the biggest concern. Not just high levels of cholesterol, but oxidized cholesterol. So we need to make sure that we're breaking down our fats properly. Do you know there is a condition that children are getting? It's called non-alcohol fatty liver disease, because children eat too many hot dogs and chicken nuggets and pizza, and they don't eat enough fresh fruits and vegetables and healthy proteins. So try to eliminate fried foods and a lot of starchy carbohydrates from the children's diets. The liver needs bitter herbs and food to help it create bile. You've heard of bitter bile. It is necessary to dissolve fats. So you know yourself, if you're washing dishes and hi Karen, and you're got greasy food, you're trying to do say a frying pan or something, it's impossible to get that grease off unless you use soap. Soap breaks down the fatty structures, and these particular bitters are surfactants, and they actually help to break down the fats so that the good part of the fat that causes moisture in your skin, helps your heart, helps your eyes, helps your brain, can be utilized. So most broad-spectrum enzymes will have something called high lipase or maybe ox bile, and those are to support better liver function in digesting fats. So after you make sure the colon and the liver are working well, then you want to support the respiratory system. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't be taking essential oils or be doing something to support the respiratory system. What I'm talking about is actually cleansing the respiratory system. And you do that with saunas. Saunas is a good way to help get toxins out through the respiratory system and the skin. So they can often be done so much through together. You know, they can be done. My favorite way is to take Epsom salts in a bath. Now, I like to mix essential oils in the Epsom salts and then put it under the running faucet, running water in the faucet, and it disperses that way. If you just put essential oils on a hot bath, in a hot bath, they're going to sit because oil and water don't mix, and we just discussed that. You need something to help dissolve it, and the Epsom salts will do that. So, where I am, okay. Thank you for clicking on those hearts and thumbs up, and I appreciate that. It's really nice. If you have a comment, please leave it in the comment section. I will get back with you, usually within 24 hours. If you have a special concern, you can email me, Dr. Mary, at bornforhealth.com, and I will be happy to give you resources and some suggestions. So, check out the information on the supplements I've given you on my website, bornforhealth.com. You will see that on the sidebar of the website, there is something called Herb Encyclopedia, and then it's an alphabetical listing. You can look up echinacea, you can look up any of the herbs that I've talked about, and all of the research papers that have been done on those particular herbs will be listed at the bottom of it. So cleansing the body can be quite complex, and what I've given you in this video is just a primer on what areas should be done in stages. Colon, liver, skin, and respiratory. The kidneys are done daily with drinking lots of water, and if you use lemon in that water, that is better too. So the kidneys need to flush, and if you abuse alcohol, you abuse the kidneys. The kidneys and the lymphatics work together. So the lymphatics collect toxins and send it to the urinary system to be eliminated that way. And one of the ways you can actually cleanse the lymphatic system is something called lymphatic drainage. And then it is coupled with kidney drainage. So you do 20 drops of each of these in a glass of water, and you should actually sip on it. My husband has found that this has helped him when he's been working hard and he gets stiff muscles and joint pain after he's been relaxing a little bit. If he remembers to take these, that stiffness is a lot less. So helping to cleanse the lymphatics, jumping up and down, doing those type of things is very helpful. Moving the lymphatics because they don't have any pump. Your muscles and your breathing are the pump for the lymphatics. So to support good kidney health, I love the juice called noni. It comes from the morinda fruit and can be found growing in Hawaii and Tahiti. This juice has helped many people who have kidney weakness. So why do we need to cleanse? Well, toxins are irritants, and these irritants cause inflammation. Inflammation is the leading contributor to disease. Every disease has an element of inflammation. There is even a test called C-reactive proteins, and this you can get from your doctor, and this determines the level of inflammation in your body. So, and you can tell when your inflamed, you're stiff, you're achy, you have conditions that end in itis, sinusitis, bursitis, arthritis. All itis means is inflammation. So that's the Latin for inflammation. So if you want to reduce inflammation, check to see if you're eliminating well and work on the first eliminative organ, which is your colon. And I think that this Ultrabiome DTX is the best thing because it helps reduce heavy metals. It helps with correcting the gut with good prebiotics and probiotics. It's just your one-shot stop. So here are your action steps. Check how much water you're drinking and aim to drink half your body weight in ounces of water on a daily basis. You can add fresh lemon, or another thing I love is chlorophyll water. Now this is very helpful in cleaning the blood. And so if your blood is clean, then your lymphatics don't have to work so hard. So make sure you're taking an enzyme product with every meal. And if you're dealing with heavy mucus, take it in between meals. So keep sharing what you've learned in these videos. Recommend them to your friends. You know, I have it on YouTube as well for those people who don't have Facebook. And keep focusing on gratitude. Be thankful for the people around you and gifts of nature, the flowers and all the joy in the world. And thank you for viewing. Until next week, this is Dr. Mary for the Health of It.